Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation Show, coming to you with today's Ask Michael Anything, talking about the simplest secret to reach your goals or to achieve your goals. So glad you could join me here this evening. I've got Jessica off camera here running the chat, running all of the logistics involved. We're out here in Basalt, Colorado, where a major snowstorm or blizzard is expected here shortly. It's still light out. There's, I think, some snow off in the distance hills. I'm looking at hills up from 7 to about 10 or 11,000 feet. And it could actually start snowing here before we're done. So before we begin, if you're enjoying the show, if you're enjoying Inspire Nation or liking these YouTube lives, what we'd love it is if you can come on over to inspirenationshow.com. Jessica might be able to find an exact link here for us. Take our survey. Let us know what you want to hear on the show, what you'd like for the Ask Michael Anythings, and what is on your mind, on your heart, or what you'd like to see from us. So far, the number one thing people would like to see more of is guided meditations. And there are many more things that people are looking for as well. So come on over to inspirenationshow.com and take that really brief survey there. Jessica, I have a quick question for you, which I would ask off air, but we're live. A QuickBooks button keeps hopping up and down on this computer. Is that something I can shut down or do something about each time it grabs my train of thought as it's supposed to do when it hops up and down?
Can you click it?
I can click QuickBooks. Here we go.
Update later.
Update later and then close? No, don't close. All right. So let's talk about the simplest secret to reaching your goals. So what I'm really talking about tonight is working backwards from your goal. So story time, quick few little stories here. First off, how did we start Inspire Nation? And I'd ask Jessica, how did we start Inspire Nation? And she would go, well, Michael, since you're on the microphone, why don't you share with everybody how we started Inspire Nation? We started it by working backward with the end in mind. We envisioned us having a world-changing show, having a huge show, and said, what will it take to be able to reach those heights? And the first thing that we understood is on iTunes, there's this thing called New and Noteworthy. And first it came out on audio before video. And if you can get onto the New and Noteworthy charts, people will find you on the first page of iTunes. And so we had to figure out what a strategy was to get on New and Noteworthy. And what it meant really was a high quality interview a day for 2 months. Basically 100 shows we had to try to pre-record so that we could kind of take over the world, take over the market through iTunes New and Noteworthy. So we worked out how many shows that we needed to have in the queue. We worked out how many guests we needed to have on the show. We then worked out how many guests we needed to reach out to, knowing that only a fractional amount of the guests will say yes in the beginning. In essence, each step of the way, we had to work backwards with the end goal in mind. And so we started recording 3 months before we went live. We uploaded the show on September 11th to help people to shine bright, to help shift the energy of the world. And the show actually went live on September 14th. And it was about June 14th, probably actually about June 20th, right around solstice, that we actually recorded our first show. I remember that. It was Fred Allen Wolf was my first recording. I had this microphone thing sticking in front of my face, really blocking the camera. But those early ones were practice. We used them, but they were practice for the later shows. But because I worked backwards, I had an idea of what to do and what needed to be done on a daily basis. Second really short story. How did we move to Colorado? Jessica, how did we move to Colorado? Again, Michael, you're on the microphone, so why don't you share that story? So, unless you'd like to add something.
I don't know where you're going with.
I'm going with working backwards. When we came to move, we knew when we were moving before we knew where we were moving, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So we actually worked backwards. We worked backwards knowing we have to be moved by, I think it was like May 3rd or something like that. We have to be out by May 3rd. Because we have to be out by May 3rd, we have to be have the house cleaned by the end of April. We have to have things packed up by a week before that. We have to have a lease signed by the beginning of April. which means that we have to send Jessica out to Colorado in the beginning of March so that we can have something signed in the beginning of April. And we actually had to have her out twice. And we just kept working the problem backwards. We even had to know when we had to get the vehicles ready in order to go, and certainly when we had to reserve a truck. It sounds like a lot, but if you're feeling stuck, if you go to the end in mind and work your way backwards, everything starts to become really clear. One technique I work with on almost all of my coaching clients is a 5-year plan. I want them to look and, more importantly, feel out where they want to be in 5 years. So oftentimes we get stuck going, oh, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I don't know exactly where I want to go. Struggling with a lamp here on the side here because I notice it's getting dark. And so instead you can feel out, even dream out. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want your life to feel like? So you get an idea of 5 years, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. You get an idea of your 5 years. And we've actually done mind mapping of this. We did it at the beginning of the year. We did it again this past week. You kind of put in the center of a map or a giant piece of paper where you could say 5 years, and then everything that you want in 5 years. And then you can do a 4-year and a 3-year and a 2-year and a 1-year. What I would recommend is your 5-year, blow out everything that you'd like to have. 4-year doesn't have to be as specific. 3-year doesn't have to be as specific. 2-year doesn't have to be as specific. 1 year, now let's try to be more specific about things. 1 month, let's try to dot all the I's and cross all the T's we can, getting down to 1 week, be exceptionally specific. And then from there, you'll know what you need to do each and every day of the week. In fact, you'll know what the most important thing is that you need to get done for the day, what I call your SMP, or your single-minded purpose. Now, if you're feeling stuck, this may seem a little bit overwhelming, but give it a try. Just write down 5 years. All right, 5 years, I want to have my own company. And I want to have my own company, and I want to bring in, I don't know, 50,000, 100,000 a year, whatever it is. And then 4 years, am I starting the company? No, I want to start it earlier than that. So 4 years, maybe I want half that income. 3 years, I want half that income. 2 years from now, that's when I want to start the business. 1 year from now, I need to be putting money into my savings so that I can start the business. And now at present, I need to make sure that I'm in alignment with my current position so that it's going to help me on my path to saving money so that 2 years from now, I can start my own business. And 5 years from now, I can be exactly where I'd like to be. Now, a lot of people get hung up on the details in 5 years. You don't need to know the details. You need to know the feeling, the emotion behind it. For instance, maybe you want the sensation or the feeling of total freedom in 5 years so that you can travel anywhere in the world, be anywhere, do anything that you want to do. Maybe that's what you're looking for in 5 years. Or maybe you're looking for the most amazing partner in 5 years. Or you're looking for that feeling of family, of having several kids in your life, or of moving someplace where there's the most incredible community, or having your own home and how it feels to have your own home. Go after the feeling. It makes the visualization much, much easier. If you're stuck, ask yourself A or B questions. This is something I do with a lot of my coaching clients who say, I have no idea where I want to be, what I want to do in 5 years. And I'll tell them, I'll do something ridiculous at first. And I'll probably say, well, do you want to live in, I don't know. Do you want to live in a Southern Hemisphere or Northern Hemisphere? Well, Northern Hemisphere. Do you want to stay in the US or do you want to move to Canada? No, I want to stay in the US. Do you want to live by the coast or the mountains? I think I'd like to be by the mountains. Do you want to live in a city or do you want to live in the country? Oh, I've always wanted to live like on the edge of a town, but up tucked in the hills. Now we're getting somewhere. Do you want to work for yourself or do you want to have a job working for somebody else? Well, I'd like the regularity of working for somebody else. Okay, great. Do you want to work at something that gives you a lot of freedom? or something that's more restrictive. Oh, actually, I'm kind of detail oriented. Something that gives me an organized structure would be great for me. Excellent. And so we just start asking questions, and you can start with the ridiculous. Do I like chocolate ice cream or do I like mud? What are you talking about, Michael? I like chocolate, of course. Or you could go chocolate and vanilla. The point is, by bringing it to the ridiculous with your A or B, you start to find out that you do have opinions. You do have things that you like and don't like. One person I might be talking to about their health, and I said, do you want to run a marathon in 5 years? And they might go, no, I'm not going to run unless I'm being chased. Okay, so you want your fitness maybe to come from CrossFit or something else. So start asking yourself these questions. After you get down a plan, 5-year, 4-year, 3-year, 2-year, 1 year, and this is important. Your 1-year plan is so important. I want you to review and review and review your goals on a daily basis. In fact, rewrite them if you can. This helps put a magical energy out to the universe to help you to bring about your goals and gives you so much clarity. There is a magic to writing it down each day. Napoleon Hill, he talks about in his manifestation work in Think and Grow Rich, he talks about reading it 3 times a day. I recommend, well, if you read it 3 times a day, awesome, but rewriting it at least once a day. This forces you to think about it. It forces you to bring your energy to it, to bring your heart to it, to bring your passion to it, or even the reverse. It forces you to go, oh, the more I write about this, the less I want to do it. Great. Because if you find out now what you don't want to do, how awesome is that? Life is not about doing the things you don't want to do. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. Even a dream job, and I believe I have a dream job, I'll put that in quotes, has a lot of work, particularly early on, that you do not want to do. It's not like you're going to get your sudden dream job and everything's perfect. For that matter, it's not like you suddenly have a dream relationship and you will never have fights, you'll never have arguments, you'll never have disagreements. Far from it. How you handle it, though, that's what's important. But with your, quote, dream job, there may be a lot of challenges. But when you write out what's most exciting to you, and I'm patting my heart here, what's most exciting to you, that passion helps you overcome those challenges. And if you're writing it down and it seems like pure judgery, then either you get to set your goals in a different direction. Nothing wrong with that. That's why we review, and review. Or you get to figure out early on, I don't want to be the janitor as well as the accountant, as well as the marketing person, as well as the, not that there's anything wrong with any of those jobs. They're all awesome. Right person, right job, what you are excited about, how you want to contribute to the world. But you might say early on, looking at this, I'm going to need to bring somebody else on board by a year's time. All right, then let's work backwards for a year and figure out when you can bring that person on board and how you can do so. Remember this. Plans always change. Jessica and I made a business plan for our parent company, Run Bear Inc., where we started the barefoot running. Well, we didn't start the barefoot running movement. I'm going to give that credit to Chris McDougall in the book Born to Run. But we came out with a barefoot running book. We had this whole plan, and we really wrote out this business plan with incredible detail. Only to find the minute that we turned the key on our business, so to speak, metaphorically speaking, that business plan went right out the window, as 99.99999% of business plans out there do. What does this mean? Nothing wrong with it. Although I wouldn't, if I had to do it all over again, wouldn't put nearly the time into it, although it did help focus us, bring us into focus. But what it means is you get to adapt and change, adapt and change, adapt and change. When you write out your yearly plan each and every day, you will see where you get to change. And that's a good thing. So The most important first step after you get your plan is to step forward. Any small step. There is no one perfect step. Once you get in motion, once you get in flow, once you get in circulation, magic happens. What do I mean by magic happening? You get a different perspective. There's a radically different perspective standing on the side of the road versus walking or running or riding a bike or skating or driving by or even flying above it at 11 or 14,000 feet. When you start moving, you see things from a different perspective, from a different angle. You get out of your fishbowl, and it makes it easier to see what's the next step. So step forward, even if you don't, especially if you don't have the perfect plan. That motion helps with everything. Last, I've covered this before, so technically today we're talking about the simplest secret to reaching your goals, and as you now know, that is working backwards. However, I'm going to give you kind of an addendum to that. The addendum is write out a mission statement. Who you are, where you want to go in life. It could be where you want to be in 5 years. It could be more likely the overarching theme of where you want to be for life. Then you write this out each and every day. This is your guiding light. For myself, when I look at this, it's to raise people's vibrations, elevate consciousness, shift humanity to a new level. I write that out each and every day. Raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, shift humanity to a new level. When I do this, it brings my energy up and it helps me to focus exactly where I'm going. Notice something interesting about that. Raise people's vibrations, elevate consciousness, shift humanity to a new level. I didn't mention a YouTube show. I didn't mention an iTunes show. I didn't mention books. I didn't mention speeches. I didn't mention any of these things because those are the tools or the vehicles to get you there. We often confuse the vehicle with the mission. So if I'm going along on this plan and my goal is easily to have 1 million people on this YouTube channel and grow it way, way, way beyond that. But if I get too attached to this vehicle, and my mission statement doesn't say have the #1 show in the world and stop there. My mission statement is to elevate people's, to raise consciousness, raise people's vibrations, elevate consciousness, shift humanity to a new level. I didn't say shift 1 million people. I said humanity. Why am I thinking that big? Well, that allows me to say YouTube show today. Maybe it's a Netflix or an Amazon show tomorrow. Maybe it's something with the Oprah channel. Maybe it's something I hadn't even considered. So get that mission statement for yourself, that overall arching umbrella for your life. Couple key things on it. First off, be honest with yourself. If your mission is to be famous or to be rich or whatever it is that you want, don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Certainly, I would believe that it's best in service of helping others, but nothing wrong with anything. The only wrong, and I'll put that thing in quotes, is to hide who you truly are or hide who you want to be. Because those urges, those impulses are the very things that you came into this world with to guide you on your path. Own them. Own who you truly are. Think big picture too, and self-care. Think about self-care. So I shared with you kind of my abridged version of my mission statement. My less abridged version, and it kind of changes, becomes a little amorphic from day to day, is to have more free time, greater health, a deeper spiritual practice, an even better relationship with Jessica and with my family, and certainly with my kitty cats or any pets that I have, and to get to explore and play and experience all life has to offer. Make sure you get all of your top level values down in your mission statement, or else you could find that you're raising people's vibrations, elevating consciousness, shifting humanity to a new level, and you're absolutely miserable because you have no time for yourself. You're sacrificing your life. You never get to see your family, and you never get to exercise or play. So make sure you get it all down. With that said, I'm going to open things up to questions early tonight. First thing I want to do is check in with Jessica. So I'm pausing to repeat that because she's in the chat window. I want to check in with Jessica and see if she has anything that she wants me to cover tonight. Maybe housekeeping for the show, for instance, survey or otherwise. Hold on here.
You mentioned the survey again.
You've mentioned the survey again. So please do us the biggest favor in the world and come on over to inspirenationshow.com and take our survey. Let us know what topics you would like us to speak about, what you'd like these Ask Michael Anythings, what specifically topics for the Ask Michael Anything, guests that you'd like on the show, anything you'd like us to change, improve, do better. Realize we're here to serve you. So notice in everything we said in the beginning of the mission statement, it's all about you. How can we help you? So it's your show. So come on over and please, 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 I cannot express this enough. Please share with us what you would like on the show, or it's only going to take 2 or 3 minutes. Just check off the boxes of the A or B of what you like. So, okay, got that said. What else do we have?
A note on the free one-on-one sessions.
So free one-on-ones have been filling up rapidly. So I offer on average 14 to 17, working down to 10 coaching spots a month. So I do a limited amount of very, very high level coaching, really helping you to transform your life, kind of do a brain dump, you could say, from Michael to you, but also focused on where you want to go or helping you find where you want to go. With that said, I do offer a limited number of free consults, which have been filling beyond my wildest dreams, but often with people who aren't interested in coaching. So if you're interested in coaching, I would love, love, love to talk with you. If you just want to say hi, I'd love, love, love to hear from you, but email is probably the preferred method. But if you're into coaching, I would love and be honored to speak with you. I think our one-on-one spots are out, 2, 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks from now.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked in a while.
So, because we are a wanted commodity. I don't know how to toot my own horn, Jessica, but coaching really helps people, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else you want me to cover before we dive into some questions?
If you sign up for a session and you can't make it, please give us notice because a lot of people really want these sessions. So if you don't show up, then
somebody else can't have that spot.
Exactly.
So thank you. All right. Do we have some questions from people tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a question from Sir Meowsers.
Where's my food?
Yo.
So yes, Hoop Circle Love Magic wrote, any advice on letting go of material objects? I've read about the Marie Kondo method and it's helpful, but there's still a big block that's gone on for years. So,
and I'm going to look over here. Any advice of letting go of material objects? And Hoop Circle Love Magic, the first step, and I admit this is one I've been challenged with a lot in my life too. The first step is to geographically move it. Get it out of its home. The further away that you get it from its home, the more that it loses its stickiness to you. So that's step number one. Second is categorize. Look for categories that you can get rid of. Are there paper products you can take care of first? Are there desk supplies you can take care of? Are there sentimental items that you will never, ever, ever, ever wear again that you can part with? And Jessica's tool on that is take a photo of them and then get a donation box going. The more that you can categorize, the easier it is to get things done. Set yourself micro deadlines. What's that mean? Well, say what's today? Tuesday? Say this Friday, I'm going to make a run to Goodwill or to Salvation Army, and I'm going to donate something or some things. That's a good, easy deadline. Another good deadline is to say, I am literally just going to chip away one thing a day. Today, I'm going to remove one thing from my room that will never, ever come back. Or today, I'm going to throw away just one thing or put just one thing in a box. Another approach is recruit assistants, have a party. When I lived in Fort Collins, Colorado, and was working to sell my house, I invited some friends over. I had some boxes, I had some pizza, I probably had some beer, and we made a party of it, moving out everything that we could together. There is something that makes it so much simpler to move things when you can recruit assistance. I'm going to send you all my love and all my support. For me, this is not an easy task. I've been through it time and time again. In fact, right now, we are having too much goodness in the house, and we get to do more of this ourselves. So I'm right there along with you.
In the past, you've tried to make me throw out your stuff.
I don't do that anymore. I don't even try to do that anymore. I know better. Next question. I'm nervous here. There's an awkward silent pause. And when I'm doing this, there's a mic here. And so when you see me leaning off to the side, I'm leaning on the mic. I just dropped my nice bracelet. Jessica is the Jessica, as I call her, is brainstorming as to whether she's going to ask this question or not. I know she's going to, so you might as well drop the bomb. What is it?
I was trying to think of a question.
Oh, or on the other hand,
we're question light tonight.
We are question light tonight. Yes.
How are you going to let go of parts of the tomato plant?
Well, that's going to take care of itself. So we have this beautiful tomato plant that is filled with tomatoes at this point. But it actually came tumbling down a couple of days ago from its high height of, I guess, about 9 feet in the air, taking a woohoo Buddha with it that was up on the shelf.
It was a happy Buddha.
It was a happy Buddha that was going woohoo. And I don't believe it's going to make it. I'm going to Google, or at least the top half of the plant. I'm going to Google tonight and see if there's a way to save a tomato plant. I don't know if you can repot it. My guess is we are just going to have to trim. I'm sad about that, but at the same time, letting go of the old does allow in the new. I do wish we knew how to control its growth. We seem to have incredible green thumbs with this thing to an extreme. This tomato plant is...
There is something to pruning plants. Like, pruning a rose bush creates bigger roses.
Yes. So we will get to prune.
So pruning the tomato plant will they are cherry tomatoes, so I don't know how big cherry tomatoes get.
But we will work on our pruning skills. All right. What has been on our minds recently? Maybe that's where we get to talk. Okay, perfect.
From Patchouli.
Yes.
Why do you believe people are able to allow themselves spiritual acceptance?
Why do we believe people are able to allow themselves spiritual acceptance? I need clarification on that question.
Maybe it's like why some are able to allow spiritual acceptance and others not.
Well, what do we define as spiritual acceptance? Meaning allow themselves to have their own belief system?
I think so.
So, okay, excellent.
Yes,
Thank you, Patchouli. That's a very deep question, because I think a lot of it depends on your spiritual upbringing, both what you've been taught, how indoctrinated you've been, how much you've taught to be a free thinker in these areas, and how much you have, there's a term other than baggage, guilt, shame, or other negative associations with if I think outside of my box. Because oftentimes we grow up within a specific religion, and like I grew up, I actually had a very interesting childhood. I grew up Jewish, but I kept on getting sent to Christian and Catholic schools, which was a great way to open my mind up. And yet it took a couple decades in my life before I could, I think, even muster the word Jesus, because I was taught saying Jesus is wrong. And so the idea of going out beyond my paradigm took a lot of work. It took a lot of letting go at a deeper level, and releasing any guilt or shame, familial, or we're all taught to be a member of a tribe. That's not a bad thing. That's how we survive as humanity. And I believe how we're going to evolve is from getting back to our tribal nature of working together as a group. But when it comes together, your tribe of your religion, it can be very steeped in if you think otherwise, you're kicked out of the tribe. And that's a very, very scary thing. Some people are born with wiring that says, I just don't give a hoot. Other people, it takes something serious in their life to take place before that happens, or even a loved one. And then there's more people that have a spiritual experience that is outside of their norm or outside of their tribe. And they have to step back and go, wait, there may be something more here. So brilliant question, Patchouli. Next question. She's got this smirk going again here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what's been going on the last few weeks? We've been working on putting systems in place with the business, which has actually been quite challenging. In fact, one of the hardest challenges is the concept of no time, which is really a man-made concept. If you're telling yourself, I can't change because I don't have time, and I try never to say I don't have time. I may say, I don't know what to do about this at the moment, but I won't say I don't have time, because time is always a matter of prioritization. We always have time for everything if we choose to make that the priority. So it's worth looking at and examining in your life. If you feel stuck, if you feel like I don't have time to get things done, I don't have time to move forward toward my dreams, whatever it is you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, I want you to pause, look at where your time is going, and challenge yourself with that. It may really be that you are maxing out where you are and other things have to wait. And that's okay. Or it may be that you can for instance, I think a guest mentioned this recently. If you were told that, if you said, I want to start painting, but I don't have time. And I said, when I was coaching you, maybe, let's say I said, well, how long does it take to do painting? Well, I want 2 hours so I can create a whole masterpiece. Okay, 2 hours is really hard to find in a day. Could you paint anything in 30 minutes? Yeah, but I'm not sure I have 30 minutes. Could you paint something in 15 or 20 minutes? Well, that would get me started. 15 or 20 minutes is much easier to find than 2 hours. So it may be that you just need to chunk things down. That can make it much, much easier. So it's worth challenging yourself when you say, I don't have time to do anything, and look at what your priorities are and look at how you can change the order of things. If not now, then what you can do to even build toward that in the future.
We have a great question from Diana.
Fantastic.
Sometimes when we make plans, as time goes by, things go wrong. We lose hope, and many times we quit halfway. What is your best advice for the down circles to help people not quit and lose hope?
So oftentimes, this is a brilliant question. There are many layers to it, Diana. I'm so glad you asked this. So first off, we have to know what our why is. If our why is powerful enough, we will be able to push through most of these downturns. So if your why is, I want to change the world. I want to help my family. I want to create a legacy. I want to build something for my kids. And this is your burning passion and desire. Then when the dark night of the soul occurs, you are able to push through it. One key thing, your why has to come from the heart. If your heart isn't into it, when the dark night of the soul comes, your mind will go running for the hills. Oftentimes, the mind is what's choosing the why. Well, I want more dollars. I want more stability. This job looks really good on paper. When the dark night of the soul comes, and it comes for all of us, if it's just from the head, we end up running, kicking, and screaming. Now, even if it's from the heart, or if it's something you absolutely have to do to find a way to take care of your family, whatever it is, we need to pep you up and prop you up and help you up each and every day. Write out your why each morning. Put things around your house, sticky notes, messages, put a plaque in the bathroom that reminds you what you're doing and why, and what that commitment means to you. Continuously remind yourself. Then, A, stay away from the naysayers. Even your relatives, if you know they're going to shoot you down, until you are absolutely solid with a cement ironclad foundation, stay away from the naysayers. And even after that, set your boundaries. So, to recap this, come up with your why. Repeat your why to yourself on a daily basis. Give yourself reminders all around you. Heck, write yourself a letter on your more positive note saying to be opened on a rainy day, so that when that day comes, you can open it and give yourself a pep talk. Stay with people who support you. Stay away, give them love, but stay away from those who don't. Remember, you certainly are the top 5 people you hang with, and the top 5 people they hang with. So if you want to be a success, surround yourself with outrageously successful people. If you want greater health, surround yourself with outrageously healthy people. Don't hang with the people who will bring your energy down. And last thing, and I rarely, when I say last, mean it is last, but so far it seems like last, which is get yourself out among others. As entrepreneurs, as people who have goals, who are driven, who want to move forward, we often hold ourselves off to work on a project. And then we start to doubt ourselves, to doubt our confidence. And as that confidence goes down, if you don't have anybody around you, our energy kind of sinks down, 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 and further down. Next week, we're going to have a whole show on positive psychology. We're going to talk about the spiral to bring it up and bring it up further and further and further still. I did have one more note. Automatic writing. Start a journaling practice, start a morning pages practice, or I'm exceptionally biased. Automatic writing has changed our lives and changed all of our coaching clients' lives and our group coaching clients' lives. Have a practice where you can dive in and hear your deepest words of wisdom, because that's what's going to tell you it's okay. You're on track. You're right where you're supposed to be. Don't give up. Hang in there. Here's what you can do as a next step from here. That's what you can get out of an automatic writing practice, which has held our hand during our dark nights of the soul and said, it's okay, Michael. It's okay, Jessica. You're building. It's going to be all right. We know you're exhausted right now. Hang in here. Here's some things you can do to make things easier for yourself as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a brilliant question. Next question.
Next question is from Lucy, who writes, what suggestions do you have for a husband and wife that have different aspirations for their joint future?
Ooh, that is a brilliant question, Lucy. Talk. The most important thing that you can do is lean into this discomfort and talk about it and share and be willing on both sides to make compromise. But oftentimes, particularly in our society, we don't talk about the difficult things. We blow up at the difficult things. We freak out at the difficult things, but we don't talk about the difficult things. So lean into it, have discussion, and really try to put yourself in your partner's shoes. Now, when do you have these talks? This is most important. Don't do it late at night when you're exhausted. Don't do it first thing in the morning when you're getting ready to go for work. It could be on the weekend. It could be on I don't want to say date night. Could be part of the date night that you take to talk about these things, but on quiet time for the two of yourself, if you can do that, if you have kids, away from the kids. Or no, you don't want to unsettle them. You can certainly have discussions, but you don't want to unsettle them. Where are we going in life? But do let them know that you're thinking of different things. Invite them into this discussion, but then do it from the most loving, kind, supportive, compassionate place that you possibly can. It may take prayer beforehand. It may take doing ho'oponopono and lots of it. This is the Hawaiian healing prayer. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. Get yourself into the most positive, loving state you can, and then start with a hug. The more that you can bring yourself, as the Japanese call it, belly to belly for discussion, the more that you are connected, that you are linked, that you are brought as one through the breath, and you can have powerful discussions. If things start to spin out of control, you can have a red light, green light code that says, if it's green, we can talk. If it's red light, if either of us are getting too upset about it, we can stop and pause and shift gears to talk about this another time, so that you make sure that you're on the same page. But I have seen so many couples that seemed on slightly divergent paths able to get onto that same path together with lots of unique things for each person. It's not like you lose yourself, but when they're willing to lean forward into the discomfort and talk about them. So brilliant, brilliant question. That's an interesting smile you've got there, Ms. Lee.
This is an interesting question from Nicole. How do you walk? I'm learning to walk toe to heel instead of heel to toe.
So, Nicole, that is a brilliant question. And we actually did write a book on walking. So many, many a year ago. I love that book, Barefoot Walking. There are 3 different techniques. There is toe to heel, there is rolling the foot, and then there is heel to toe. There is no one right way, but there are different ways to do it for different circumstances. So if you're looking for maximum stability and support, you tend to go heel to toe. If you're looking for a little bit of more nimbleness, will more roll that foot. If you have a leg length discrepancy, or you want to walk extra light, like you're pitter-pattering into the kitchen, or with minimum impact on any of your joints, particularly your back, your hip, and your knees, then you want to walk toward your forefoot. Forefoot does take more practice to get into. Forefoot does work your foot out a lot more, which can be an exceptional thing. But if you're not a forefoot walker, or kind of picture an ancient Native American in the woods, kind of stealth, not even cracking a branch or cracking a leaf, you want to start into it slowly, because the foot has to wake up, and you have so many ligaments, muscles, and tendons. Wish you could see this. This is my foot here. So many ligaments, muscles, and tendons in here, which become a natural spring that they can fatigue out really quickly, and then they can even pull on the bone. And so we want to start with very short amounts if you're switching to a toe walk. I typically do a toe walk when I'm outside because of the various beautiful titanium parts that I have been gifted with. It helps me to walk extra light, and at least before my most recent titanium parts, I had almost an inch leg length discrepancy. And by landing on the toes, these are my toes, I'm able to have one heel up higher than the other to balance myself with one shorter leg than the other. So there's some real benefits to it. I would get into it slowly. I do like toe walking as a general rule, but there is a time and a place for everything. Do we have a next question?
Let's see.
So yellow is my favorite color. Excellent, excellent. So we've got lots of yellow in the favorite color. You have these glasses on, man. Not sure what the question is. What else has been on our minds recently?
How are you letting go of the old programming that says you screwed up?
The biggest way, so she's bringing up a good point, and I'm glad she did. So I have programming in me. We all have programming in us that was gifted to us by our parents, or by our parents' parents, or even by our parents' parents' parents, that often tries to steal or run the show. And one of those programs inside of me is you screwed up. I don't know how else to put that. I lovingly call it the screw up gene. When it comes up, it's not so loving. The number one thing that I do is I'm continuously working now on healing my inner child, doing a lot of inner child work, a lot of meditating on sending my inner child as much love as possible. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the fear of what did I screw up is saying, mom, dad, or in this case, inner mom, dad, am I okay? Am I going to be kicked out of the tribe? Are you going to withhold love from me if I did something wrong, or if I spilled my milk? the more that I can be proactive and love myself up, the easier it is to nip it in the bud. Now, I can't nip it in the bud. Let's never use that word, Michael, and never use the word never. I haven't succeeded yet in nipping it in the bud 100% of the time. So the best thing that I can do is then double back around. I grow my awareness so that I can catch it sooner and work to do something about it when it comes up or after it comes up. Console myself, love myself, don't judge myself, and ask, is this real? Do you need to be thinking this way? So my latest challenge for myself, and the perfect example is we got Tessie back from the wrap store today, and frankly, I was a bit disappointed in it. I was a little bit sad about it, but I don't want to use the term should have anymore. Because should have means I'm picking on myself when we're always doing the best we can with the information that we have. In fact, I was talking with Tal Ben-Shahar, one of the leading world experts on happiness earlier today. And I was saying that I wish when we made decisions, we could have like this giant stamp next to us. And we could go, am I going to choose A or B? Or in this case, am I going to choose the wrap store and Denver or Grand Junction, or am I going to go with the local guy who's been doing this forever? And I chose the local guy for all of these great reasons. I want to say I'm choosing the local guy, ka-chung, and make a stamp in my psyche that says, I tried to do the best I could. And so then if it comes back and it looks strange, it doesn't look quite right, I'm not sure how it's going to work out, to say, Michael, we've learned something from this experience. You did the best you possibly could. If we realize that we're all trying to do the best we possibly can, given our energy, given our facts, given our time constraints, then we'd be much kinder and gentler to ourselves and wouldn't be running roughshod all over ourselves. That's a piece of what I'm working on right now. And she's reading something. She's gone quiet.
Lucy wrote, I signed up for AWE last March. That's the Automatic Writing Experience program, and didn't do it. Is it still available?
Yes, Lucy. If you signed up, you can still get access to all of the videos inside of it. It is all there still for the waiting, for the taking. And it is a self-guided program. So highly, 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 highly recommend that you dive in there. Joseph Schmo wrote, are you for or against political correctness? I am for authenticity, and I am for kindness and compassion for all. So you get to balance that. And I believe the best way to balance that is before you do something or ask something or say something, as best you can. And this is something that you get better with practice. What would love do? What's the most loving, kind, and gentle I can be in this moment? Now, loving, kind, and gentle isn't always saying, oh, you're right, oh, you're right, oh, you're right. It absolutely may be speaking your mind and speaking your piece and standing up for yourself, but in the kindest, gentlest, loving manner possible. I don't see, and I get to do better on occasion as well. I'm told with a postal employee earlier today, as I was trying to understand something about junk mail, that I could have done better. But I don't, and Sir Meowsers is agreeing with that. I don't see anyone as anything other than me, than an expression of myself. We are all one. We are all this one human bush, all with individual flowers, but we're still the same plant. So I'm never going to attack another flower on the same plant. I'm going to love them up. I'm going to do what I can for them. I'm going to nourish them. If their growing is out of control and kind of crazy, I'm going to grow a little bit over in this direction. But I'm never going to pick on that flower because we're always the same plant. And if a flower attacked me, then I'm probably going to try to sidestep or do what I can to take care of myself. But I'm going to understand that they are absolutely struggling and in a lot of pain, and something bad probably happened to them. And I'm going to wonder, what can I do for my brother or sister? Or from a distance, I'm going to step back and say, I'm just going to send them all the love in the world I possibly can. We've got time for one or two more questions here. I feel like starting that Jeopardy music here. Do 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 do.
Do you think we're pregnant?
Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm not going to answer that question. Well, this is an Ask Michael Anything. So this is a loaded question. So as you may know, we had a miscarriage a few months ago. And I truly believe that when the time is right, baby will be here. I like to say everything in life happens for a reason. When it comes to losing a loved one, I never try to say, oh, it's just a this or just a that. Loss is loss. Let's call it like it is. Tragedy is still tragedy, and it can still really hurt. And I'm not just talking about a miscarriage here. I'm talking particularly parents who lost kids, which is like the hardest thing in the world. With that said, I'm convinced she is circling around, flitting around above us, waiting for that perfect moment to come in. Has she already come in? I don't know, but that is such a loaded question, because if I say yes and it's not, then your heart's broken. If I say no, well, then we don't have to go any further. Your heart's broken. So there is no way I can possibly answer this question. With that said, I don't know how accurate my muscle testing is on this one, because I muscle tested the first time around as twins and never told you about that. So I don't know. But
we'll never know if you were right.
We'll never know. I do write about it on a daily basis. I do intention work. You read to me a portion of no, not a portion of a book, a video from Dr. Joe Dispenza a few days ago, talking about in the old days, indigenous tribes, when they wanted to conceive, the man and woman would separate themselves. The man would go off, woman would go off on her own, and they would both do intention work of who they wanted to bring about. And I am doing this each and every morning. I'm setting intention for our beautiful bouncing baby girl, super healthy, super happy, sleep through the night, every night, super athletic, and on and on and on it goes, but the kindest and most compassionate person in the world, and the easiest baby and the easiest pregnancy. But with that said, I always put down at the end, for my highest good, or the highest good of all, or something better. And the or something better allows universe that room. So I can't say when it will be. My guess is it will be very, very soon, if it's not now. We will share with everybody. We will take everybody on this journey together, and we'll learn and grow from this process. And I would say we are certainly in overall, a bit of a bumpy week, but overall we are in a much better place now, or more understanding now, than we were 3 months ago. Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. Time for one last question. What do we have?
So last summer, you did a lot of mountain biking and mountain bike racing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just bike racing in general.
Mm-hmm.
But this summer, that's not going to be your focus. Why?
Oh, the why is a good question. So you're right. This summer, I'm not going to be. Last summer, I hadn't raced in 14, 15 years, came here to the Valley, wanted to ride my bicycle a bunch, really wanted to run mountains and hills, and just kept on. It seemed like this pull just kept on getting pulled to do these races. And like there's a race finishing in front of our house. We go to get a haircut. There's a race finishing or starting there. And eventually I say, all right, I'll give it a try. I'll see how I feel about it. And I learned many great lessons from the process, but I had this niggling in me that it just didn't feel right. It felt 1 degree off. And I really wanted to go play in the hills and go back to running hills. In the fall, when the bicycle racing season stopped and I got to go back in the hills, I really got to remember where I am now. Oftentimes we find ourselves playing old grooves in the record. Nothing wrong with it if you go into it aware. I was aware that this may be a dream from my past. I raced bicycles in Europe, tried to make it to the Tour de France, got injured, had a second go at it about 10 years later, made it back to the national level before giving that up to do more charity events, bigger, longer endurance events. And so I realized that I might be going back into an old groove in the record, but I was conscious about it, and I let it play out for the season to see what I could learn from it. What I learned is It didn't give me as much joy as I hoped. It really frustrated me. And frankly, at the end of the day, if it became my one thing and I did it and actually achieved perfection, whatever that is, that's an illusion. If I even went to a world championships in cycling, I don't think that would have pleased me. On the other hand, the first time it snowed in the fall and I was running still in my barefoot like sandals, and it's freezing cold out, I was like a kid in the candy store and running straight up the mountain on my snowshoes. I feel like a kid in a candy store, and running anywhere that a hill is involved. I feel like a kid in a candy store. So I want to follow that energy. On top of that, I have avoided serious injury minus the NDEs that we have talked about. I have avoided serious injury for a very long time when I'm on my 2 feet. That's how I want to stay. I want to be, I don't mind if it's running. I don't mind if it's skiing up a hill. I don't mind if it's skating, but I don't want to be in a real fast moving vehicle anymore because I have family. I have kids on the way, and I want to be here for much longer than I've already been here on this planet. Double, triple, who knows what's possible, but I want to be here for a long time to come. And in cycling and bicycle racing, my safety is dependent on the smart decisions, not just of myself, but of others around me. That cover it pretty well?
Yeah, I didn't know about the second part.
Really?
Or the last part. Not sure how many parts there were. Okay. One last question from Stephanie.
Okay.
I heard today it's about learning from the experiences and then growing intentionally. Can you speak to personal intentional growth?
Well, so I'm not sure how, Stephanie, you're defining personal intentional growth, but any experience you can look at under the lens of how can I grow from this? It could be simple as stubbing your toe and how you react. And you could react with a mother blankety blankety, a son of a blankety blankety. And then you could step back and go, well, can I learn from this experience? Can I grow from this experience? And get to a place of going, ow, I love myself. That would be tremendous personal growth. It could be how you interact with somebody and lose your cool and going, what can I do differently about this next time? Stephanie, over 50% of personal growth is awareness. It's not doing anything fancy. It is observing what's going on and learning from it. The other 50%, loosely put, is choice. How do I choose to react moving forward? Realizing you may not catch it right when you stub your toe, but it may be 10 minutes later, then 5 minutes, then 1 minute, and then in the moment. But what do I choose to do next time? Or how do I choose to view this as a positive thing? So the car, which is, God, my God, I love my car. It's a crazy thing to say. I love just moving it around the driveway. We get it back from the wrap shop. There's one, I'll put it in quotes, imperfection in it that did drive me nuts when I first saw it. And Jessica said the most beautiful, beautiful thing. She said, everything is temporary. Now, first off, for her to say that is brilliant. Secondly, for me, if I catch my mind dwelling, and this is a challenge for you as well, if you catch yourself dwelling on anything negative, find a positive and link to it. That is making a choice. My choice is if I go, well, I don't know about, I am choosing to say everything is temporary. Or in this case, I am choosing to say, even if it's less than perfect, and if it is, I'm probably like the only person who's going to notice this, but even if it is less than, quote, perfect, what an awesome teacher. What an amazing, I told Jessica in the post office, this car is a starter car. And she's like, how can a Tesla be a starter car? All of the great lessons and learnings I'm getting from it. It's all about the choice. Make a choice to learn from each and every experience, and you'll find your entire life change, and you're truly on fire. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank Jessica for running everything behind the scenes, for running the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is Sir? Oh, wow! I want to thank Sir Meowsers, who is so proud and regal in the background here. Thank you for hanging in here because I know you're very hungry. And I want to thank each of you, not just for listening to this show, but for taking steps forward in your life. 50% of his awareness, would that be it? 50 is awareness, and 50 is making a choice and stepping forward. I want to challenge you, and you can put it down here, put it down in the chat. I want to challenge you to make a choice, to make a decision this week to step forward into your greatness, to step forward into your authentic self, to take one small or massive, and even a small step is a massive one, forward towards the future which you're capable of having. We are perfect just as we are. There is nothing to fix, but we can expand, we can grow, and we can evolve. And that's what I'm going to challenge you with this week. So that's it from here. Jessica, do you want to join me? And maybe everybody else will join us too. Unlike our group coaching classes, nobody can see us. But shall we drop and give people 10 woohoos?
Sure.
All right. Everybody ready? You can type it in the chat box. You can do it along with us. We are going to do 10 woohoos to raise your energy. And then we look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to talk even more about raising your vibration. Here we go. Are you ready, Jessica? Woohoo! 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 5 more. Woohoo! Woohoo! 3. Woohoo! Woohoo! Last one. Woohoo! Let's do a bonus. Woohoo! Thank you so much, everybody. Send all our love. And it's so cool that Sir Meowser is hanging out on the flower thing. Should I bring them? Should we do what? I don't want to. Thank you. All right, everybody. May you have the most beautiful evening ahead and beyond, above and beyond all else. Shine bright. Woohoo! Fill out the survey. Fill out the survey. There's the link. There's the link.